There's something about the way your mind works that Carl Jung discovered in 1934, something that explains why you feel so different from others, why your energy drains so quickly in certain situations, and why you possess an almost supernatural ability to see patterns others miss. Before we dive deep into this psychological revelation that could change everything about how you see yourself, please hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Trust me, what you're about to discover about your psychic energy will be worth every second of your time. Carl Jung spent decades studying the human psyche, but there was one particular discovery that fascinated him above all others. He noticed that certain individuals seemed to operate on an entirely different energetic frequency. These weren't just introverts. These were people whose minds functioned like sophisticated radar systems, constantly scanning for deeper meanings, hidden connections, and future possibilities. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and immediately sense the emotional undercurrents that others seem completely oblivious to. That's not coincidence. That's your psychic energy at work. Jung identified that INFJ, INFP, INTJ, and INTP personalities possess what he called introverted intuition as their dominant or auxiliary function. But here's what most people don't understand about this cognitive process. It's not just a thinking pattern. It's an energy system that operates on a completely different level than the majority of human consciousness. Think about it this way. While most people's minds work like flashlights, focusing on immediate, concrete details in front of them, your mind works like a lighthouse, constantly rotating and scanning the vast ocean of possibilities, picking up signals from distant shores that others can't even see. This psychic energy manifests differently in each of the four types, but they all share something profound. They're all tuned into frequencies that most people simply cannot access. It's like having a radio that can pick up stations from other dimensions, while everyone else is stuck listening to the same local broadcast. For INFJs, this energy creates an almost prophetic ability to see how current situations will unfold. You've probably experienced this yourself. You meet someone and immediately know with an unsettling certainty exactly how the relationship will develop. You sense the trajectory of events before they happen. This isn't magic. This is your psychic energy processing thousands of subtle cues and patterns that your conscious mind hasn't even registered yet. INFPs channel this same energy differently. Where INFJs see external patterns and future outcomes, INFPs dive deep into the emotional and value-based undercurrents of any situation. You feel the authentic truth beneath people's words. You sense when someone is living in alignment with their values, or when they're betraying their own soul. This creates an almost painful sensitivity to inauthenticity and a powerful drive toward meaning and purpose. INTJs use this psychic energy like a strategic weapon. You see systems, structures, and long-term consequences with laser precision. While others are focused on immediate problems, your mind is already 3 steps ahead, building comprehensive frameworks for understanding and improving complex situations. This is why you often feel frustrated with people who can't see the obvious solutions that seem crystal clear to you. INTPs direct this energy toward understanding the fundamental principles that govern reality itself. You're not just thinking about ideas. You're downloading insights about how the universe actually works. This is why you can spend hours lost in thought, following logical threads that lead to profound revelations about the nature of existence itself. But here's where Jung's discovery becomes both fascinating and dangerous. This psychic energy that makes you so perceptive and insightful also makes you incredibly vulnerable to energy depletion and psychological overwhelm. You see, most people's minds have natural filters that block out the majority of information and stimuli around them. It's a protective mechanism that allows them to function in busy, chaotic environments without becoming overwhelmed. But your mind doesn't have those same filters. You're constantly processing information on multiple levels simultaneously. This is why crowded places drain you so quickly. It's not just social anxiety. Your psychic energy is literally being pulled in dozens of directions at once, trying to process all the emotional, energetic, and intuitive information that's flooding your system. Jung realized that people with this type of psychic energy need to learn how to manage it consciously, or it will manage them. He saw too many brilliant, intuitive individuals burn out, become depressed, or retreat from the world entirely because they never learned how to work with their own energetic nature. The key insight Jung discovered is that your psychic energy operates in cycles. It needs periods of intense focus and deep diving, followed by periods of complete withdrawal and restoration. This isn't laziness or antisocial behavior. This is how your energy system naturally functions. When you honor these cycles, something magical happens. Your intuitive abilities become sharper, your insights become more accurate, your creative output increases dramatically. You start to feel like you're operating at your full potential instead of constantly fighting against your own nature. But when you ignore these cycles and try to force yourself to operate like everyone else, your psychic energy becomes scattered and ineffective. You start second-guessing your intuitions. You lose touch with that inner knowing that has always been your greatest strength. Jung also discovered that people with this type of psychic energy have a unique relationship with the unconscious mind. While most people's unconscious remains largely inaccessible, your unconscious is constantly communicating with your conscious awareness through symbols, dreams, synchronicities, and sudden insights. This is why you often know things without knowing how you know them. Your unconscious mind is processing vast amounts of information and delivering the conclusions to your conscious awareness in the form of intuitive hits and gut feeling. The problem is that our culture doesn't teach us how to interpret or trust these unconscious communications. We're taught to rely only on logical, rational analysis, which cuts us off from one of our most powerful sources of information and guidance. Jung spent years developing techniques for accessing and interpreting unconscious wisdom. He understood that for people with your type of psychic energy, learning to work consciously with the unconscious isn't just helpful, it's essential for psychological health and personal development. Now that you understand the basic nature of your psychic energy, let's explore how Jung's discoveries can help you harness this power more effectively and avoid the common pitfalls that trap so many intuitive introverts. Jung noticed that people with introverted intuition often struggle with what he called the inferior function. This is the cognitive process that represents your greatest weakness and your greatest potential for growth. For INFJs and INTJs, this is extroverted sensing. For INFPs and INTPs, this is extroverted thinking. Here's why this matters for your psychic energy. When your inferior function is underdeveloped, it creates energetic imbalances that can seriously compromise your intuitive abilities. You might find yourself getting lost in endless possibilities without being able to take concrete action. Or you might become so focused on perfecting your ideas that you never share them with the world. Jung discovered that developing your inferior function doesn't mean abandoning your natural strengths. Instead, it means creating a more balanced, energetic system that can sustain your intuitive gifts over the long term. For INFJs and INTJs, this means learning to ground your insights in physical reality. Your psychic energy needs concrete expression to remain healthy and effective. This might mean developing artistic skills, engaging in physical exercise, or creating tangible products from your ideas. The key is finding ways to bring your inner visions into the external world. For INFPs and INTPs, developing extroverted thinking means learning to organize and communicate your insights in ways that others can understand and use. Your psychic energy can become stagnant if it never finds external expression through clear communication and logical structure. But Jung's most important discovery about psychic energy was the concept of individuation. This is the lifelong process of becoming who you truly are, rather than who others expect you to be. For people with your type of psychic energy, individuation isn't just personal development, it's a spiritual imperative. You see, your psychic energy is constantly picking up information about your authentic path and purpose. But this information often conflicts with social expectations and conventional definitions of success. This creates what Jung called the tension between the persona and the authentic self. The persona is the mask you wear to fit into society. It's not necessarily false, but it's incomplete. It represents only a small fraction of who you truly are. The problem is that maintaining the persona requires enormous amounts of energy that could be used for creative expression, deep thinking, and intuitive development. Jung realized that people with strong introverted intuition often become trapped in personas that are completely misaligned with their true nature. They might force themselves into careers that drain their energy, relationships that stifle their growth, or lifestyles that leave no room for the deep reflection and creative expression their psychic energy requires. The individuation process involves gradually shedding these false personas and learning to live from your authentic center. This isn't selfish or antisocial. When you're operating from your true nature, your psychic energy becomes a gift to the world, rather than a burden you're constantly trying to manage. Jung also discovered that people with your type of psychic energy have a special relationship with what he called the collective unconscious. This is the deeper layer of unconscious that contains the universal patterns and archetypes that shape human experience. Your introverted intuition naturally tunes into these collective patterns. This is why you often feel like you're picking up on the zeitgeist or sensing cultural shifts before they become obvious to others. You're not just processing personal information, you're accessing the deeper currents that move through human consciousness. This connection to the collective unconscious can be both a gift and a burden. On one hand, it gives you profound insights into human nature and social dynamics. On the other hand, it can make you feel overwhelmed by the suffering and dysfunction you perceive in the world around you. Jung learned that people with this type of psychic sensitivity need to develop what he called a container for their experiences. This means creating psychological boundaries that allow you to access deep insights without being overwhelmed by them. One of the most effective techniques Jung developed was active imagination. This is a method for consciously engaging with unconscious content through visualization, dialogue, and creative expression. For people with your type of psychic energy, active imagination can become a powerful tool for processing insights and maintaining psychological balance. The process is simple but profound. You create a quiet space and allow images, symbols, or figures to emerge from your unconscious. Then you engage with these elements as if they were real, asking questions, having conversations, and exploring their meaning and significance. This isn't just fantasy or daydreaming. It's a systematic method for accessing the wisdom of your unconscious mind and integrating it into your conscious awareness. Jung found that people who practiced active imagination regularly developed much stronger intuitive abilities and greater psychological resilience. Another crucial element of working with your psychic energy is learning to distinguish between genuine intuition and projection. Because your mind is so sensitive to subtle patterns and possibilities, it's easy to mistake your own fears, desires, and expectations for intuitive insights. Jung developed specific criteria for evaluating intuitive information. Genuine intuition tends to be neutral, unexpected, and accompanied by a sense of certainty that doesn't require external validation. Projection, on the other hand, tends to be emotionally charged, confirms your existing beliefs, and creates anxiety when questioned. Learning to make this distinction is essential for maintaining the accuracy and reliability of your psychic energy. When you can trust your intuitions, you can make decisions with confidence and navigate complex situations with grace and wisdom. Jung also emphasized the importance of finding your unique way of expressing your psychic energy in the world. Some people are meant to be artists, others teachers, others healers or innovators. The key is discovering the form of expression that feels most authentic and energizing to you. This might not be what you expected or what others expect from you. Jung found that many people with strong introverted intuition are called to unconventional paths that don't fit neatly into traditional career categories. The important thing is honoring your authentic calling rather than forcing yourself into predetermined molds. As we reach the end of this exploration, remember that your psychic energy is not a burden to be managed, but a gift to be developed. Jung spent his entire career studying consciousness, and he consistently found that people with your type of intuitive sensitivity have access to insights and possibilities that can benefit not just themselves, but humanity as a whole. The world needs your unique perspective. It needs your ability to see patterns others miss, to sense possibilities others can't imagine, and to access wisdom that emerges from the deeper layers of consciousness. But first, you need to learn to work with your own energy in a way that sustains and nourishes you. You need to create a life that honors your need for depth, meaning, and authentic expression. Take some time to reflect on what you've learned today. How does this understanding of your psychic energy change how you see yourself and your place in the world? What changes might you need to make to better honor your authentic nature? Share your insights in the comments below. Your perspective matters, and others who share your type of psychic energy will benefit from hearing about your experiences and discoveries. If this video has helped you understand yourself better, please share it with others who might benefit from Jung's insights about psychic energy and intuitive consciousness. And don't forget to subscribe for more content about psychology, spirituality, and personal development. Remember, your sensitivity is not a weakness. Your depth is not a flaw. Your need for meaning and authenticity is not unrealistic. These are the qualities that make you capable of accessing and sharing wisdom that the world desperately needs. Trust your psychic energy, develop it consciously, and use it to create a life that reflects your deepest truth and highest potential.